All right, let's jump right in. We all know those days, right? Whether you're running a company, coaching elite athletes, or pushing your own limits, some days that peak performance just feels off.
Totally. The energy's low, motivation takes a nosedive, maybe a setback throws you off course. Happens to everyone.
But the real difference, the thing that separates consistent high achievers, is that ability to push through, to execute, even when you really don't feel like it.
That's exactly what we're unpacking today. How do the best performers keep delivering quality work through those inevitable dips? It's not magic, it's strategy.
Precisely. And for this deep dive, we're leaning heavily on Coach Ed Padalecki's insights from Mental Toughness in Action to explore this idea he calls emotional stamina.
The goal here is to give you, the listener, some really concrete tools you can use, like right away, to keep your performance high no matter the mood.
So let's define it first. Emotional stamina. What exactly is Coach P talking about here?
Okay, so Coach Padalecki defines it pretty clearly. It's your ability to stick to your core performance fundamentals, the basics, despite how you're feeling. Energy up, energy down, motivated, not motivated. Doesn't matter.
You still perform.
You still perform. It's about detaching the action from the immediate feeling. The elite performers, they don't wait until they feel great to do great work.
That's a huge distinction. So what's the thinking behind this? Is there science supporting it?
Oh, absolutely. Coach P draws on sports psychology research. Top performers are just better at emotional regulation. They manage those feelings so that external stuff or just an off day internally doesn't completely derail their focus.
So they don't get sucked into the negativity or the frustration as easily.
Right. It's about shifting from being problem-focused, like, oh no, this went wrong, to being process-focused. Okay, what's the next step in my plan? Coach Padalecki calls it cognitive reframing.
Back to the protocol, basically.
Exactly. You stick to the protocol instead of getting lost in analyzing the setback itself.
Which really highlights the importance of habits and systems, doesn't it?
Definitely. Coach P brings up James Clear's point here. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Your protocol is that system.
It's your safety net when things get tough.
It's your anchor. And that leads perfectly into the idea of the performance protocol itself.
Yeah, Coach Padalecki shares this really impactful quote from Phil Stutz. Can you share that?
Stutz says, I don't feel good, but I'm going to keep up with the protocol. In fact, I am most committed to my protocol when it's hardest.
Wow. Most committed when it's hardest. That really flips the script on how most people probably approach tough days.
It really does. Because that's the moment of truth, isn't it? When you feel the resistance, the urge to slack off, that's when sticking to your standards builds that real deep resilience.
So for you listening right now, do you actually have a protocol? Like a defined set of actions you rely on when things feel difficult?
And Coach P really stresses making it a written protocol. Why? Because it removes the need to think or debate when your motivation is already low.
Takes the decision fatigue out of it.
Precisely. If it's written down, it's non-negotiable. You just execute. It becomes almost automatic, shifting from a conscious effort to just following the plan.
Okay, so this sounds crucial. How does someone listening start building their own protocol?
Yeah.
What steps does Coach Padalecki suggest?
Well, he gives some great starting points. First, look at your morning. What are those foundational actions that set you up for a strong day, your non-negotiable start?
Makes sense. Get the momentum going early. What else?
Then think about setbacks. How do you currently react? Do you spiral, or do you have a way to reset and refocus quickly? Your protocol needs a reset button built in.
Like a mini routine to get back on track after a mistake or bad news.
Exactly. And finally, identify the habits that keep you mentally sharp. What specific things maintain your focus and cognitive edge in your field? Focused work blocks, mindfulness, exercise.
And these aren't just nice-to-haves. Coach P calls them non-negotiable actions. They're core commitments.
Right. And true to form, Coach Padalecki doesn't just leave it there. He lays out a specific 3-part challenge for listeners.
Okay, let's hear it. What's the challenge?
Part 1 is simple but essential. Define your protocol. Actually sit down and write out those core routines and habits that fuel your best performance. Make it tangible.
Get it out of your head and onto paper or into a document.
Step 2 is all about commitment to the work. Coach P suggests adopting an internal mantra, something like, I don't feel great, but I execute anyway.
Actively choosing the action over the feeling.
Yes, it's about that conscious override. And the third part, that's where you build your emotional stamina.
How does that work?
It's about understanding that building the stamina isn't about never feeling down or unmotivated. It's about consistently taking the right actions, even when you do feel that way. The focus is on action despite the feeling.
So the feeling isn't the enemy. ignoring your process because of the feeling is.
You got it. That's the core message from Coach Padalecki. Real resilience, that true mental toughness. It's forged by staying locked in when it's tough, being most committed when it feels the hardest.
It really shifts the focus. Emotional stamina, as Coach Ed Padalecki frames it, is less about feeling good and more about doing good work consistently. It's a learnable skill.
Absolutely. And it's critical for anyone in a high-stakes environment, business leaders, coaches, athletes, you name it, separating feelings from necessary actions.
So the path forward is pretty clear, based on Coach P's work.
Define that personal performance protocol. What are your non-negotiables? Write them down.
And then commit. Commit to executing that protocol, especially on the days you least want to. That's where the growth happens.
That's where the stamina builds.
So here's something to really think about as you go about your week. What's the cumulative effect, the long-term impact, of sticking to your plan even when every fiber of your being wants to coast? How does showing up, especially when it's difficult, build not just results, but that deep, unshakable resilience that truly separates the elite performers from everyone else? Maybe that commitment, even when you don't feel like it, is the real secret weapon. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We hope this gives you some food for thought as you continue on your journey.